Welcome to the People's Budget. This is episode 4, brought to you by the Center for Trade Policy and Development in partnership with the Tax Justice Network Africa, as well as Diakonia. Now, on this episode, we get to see our contestants go to the Zambia Revenue Authority to go for a learning experience. Now, there's so much that goes into putting a budget together. That means that you need to know the know-how. And knowing the know-how is heading over to the Zambia Revenue Authority and finding out, because these are the people that are responsible for collecting our taxes. So we had a very fruitful learning experience for the contestants as they went to learn how domestic resource mobilization actually takes place. They went there to appreciate the Zambia Revenue Authority, how they interact with the general public by visiting their call center as well. We're going to kick off episode 4 in this fashion. Let's head on to the Zambia Revenue Authority, and thereafter we see what goes on next right here on the People's Budget.
We will look at the role of Zambia Revenue Authority in the national budget process, and lastly, we'll look at the budget process. The mandate of ZRA. Zambia Revenue Authority is mandated to collect and account for government revenue, administer tax and customs laws, facilitate trade, and advise on tax policy to support national government. So, for starters, when you have a budget, we have the revenue and expenditure. As Zambia Revenue Authority, we fall on the revenue side. For starters, the Ministry of Finance is responsible for formulating and enacting tax laws. As a Zambia Revenue Authority, we play a role in advising the government on technical matters such as tax policy and revenue enhancing measures. So our first role as Zambia Revenue Authority is an advisory role. So Zambia Revenue Authority provides technical advice on tax matters and revenue policy to the government. Our second role is law review. ZRA identifies gaps, consolidates tax provisions, and recommends improvements. So we have tax legislations. As Zambia Revenue Authority, we have to make sure that our legislation is clear enough for us to be able to administer taxes efficiently, and also just looking at ways in which we can improve our tax legislation.
As an authority, we also provide advice to the government on tax policy. So we do play that role as well, even issues of tax incentives and so forth. When it comes to the actual execution of our mandate, that of collecting revenue, we do just ensure that we look at the different macroeconomic factors or indicators, and also how do we play a role of ensuring that there is tax policy stability. If you check what's been happening over the years, some of the players or the taxpayers, they would do talk about stability in tax policy. For example, the mining sector, agriculture sector, and all these other sectors. For you to effectively collect revenue, there has to be tax policy stability.
So the good part about belonging to a service center is you receive different queries each day. So you never know what a taxpayer has come for. A taxpayer can walk in and ask, how can I be part of the 2026 budget? So you need to know. So you need to be very knowledgeable when you work in a customer service center. So we can maybe just take a walk and see where they sit.
I must say the contestants were very happy to be at the Zambia Revenue Authority. One of them that misses out is a contestant we said goodbye to last week, Jabisha. But like Jabisha said goodbye to the show, we're about to say goodbye to 3 participants today. But before we say our goodbyes, let's get to our debates. After the training, now we have an opportunity to find out whether these contestants can actually put their training to the test. Let's get to the first debate and see how well they do. In front of a panel of judges, they get to debate each other. Let's see how well they're prepared for this one. Joining us today, should I say, the two honorable ministers of Finance and National Planning. We have Honorable Wiseman Daka on my left, and on my right here, we have Honorable Chimwemwe Muchimba, who will be presenting to the judges their draft budgets. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Feeling good?
A bit.
Okay. All right. So we'll start with you. Chimwemwe, present your budget to the judges and to your fellow contestant here. We will scrutinize everything that you put on the table, and later on I will give you each 2 minutes to debate the reasons why you've drafted these two budgets, and then we throw it to the judges to give you their opinions on what you have researched. With that said, let's get right to it. Stepping up to the podium, already at the podium, is Honorable Muchimba, who will give us his draft budget. Honorable Muchimba, your time starts now.
Greetings, countrymen and women. My name is Chimwemwe Muchimba, the Minister of Finance for the Republic of Zambia. I'm a bearer of a message from His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, the President of the Republic of Zambia. Madam Speaker, I rise before this House today with a deep sense of purpose and a clear vision of our nation's future. The past year has been a testament to the resilience of our people as we have navigated both domestic and global headwinds. Despite the challenges, our economy has shown remarkable strength. Madam Speaker, the latest economic data gives us cause for optimism. Our gross domestic products growth, which was initially projected at a more modest pace, is now on a robust upwards trajectory. However, we remain vigilant. While inflation is showing signs of moderation, having declined to 12.5% as of August 2025, it remains above our target, which is between 6 to 8%. Within this, the Farmer Input Support Program is allocated 8.75 billion kwacha, demonstrating our commitment to food security. Road infrastructure is also a key focus.
Honorable Muchimba, your time is up. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right, that was Honorable Muchimba presenting his draft budget proposal to our judges. We will hear from Honorable Daka before we allow them to debate some of the policies that are presented in the budget, or their allocations in the budget. So, Honorable Daka, your 5 minutes starts now.
Thank you so much. One Zambia, one nation. Countrymen, women, and the youth. Madam Speaker, I, Wiseman Daka, the Honorable Minister of Finance and National Planning, have the honor to present before this August House the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the Republic of Zambia for the fiscal year 1st January to 31st December 2026. This budget comes at a pivotal moment when we have navigated the turbulent waters of debt distress, pandemics, epidemics, and a historic drought. Madam Speaker, it is in this context that 2026 national budget is developed with a focus on our economic journey from recovery to resilience, making growth work for all. This budget is not merely an accounting exercise. It is a strategic blueprint as it is designed to protect our people, create jobs, foster sustainable development, and ensure that our public finances are robust enough to withstand future shocks and be they climatic or economic. Madam Speaker, to guide our nation towards resilience and inclusive growth, government has set the following macroeconomic objectives for the fiscal year 2026. Real GDP growth projected at 7.0%, driven by a full recovery in agriculture, sustained expansion in mining, and targeted support to manufacturing and tourism. Agriculture and food security, a potential sector, shall receive 19.8 billion.
Time is up. Thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation. All right, there you have it. Those are the two draft budgets that our contestants today have presented before our judges. Before we get to hear from the judges, let's give them a chance to debate for 2 minutes each. What you picked out from your fellow contestants' budget, you'll be given an opportunity to now just, raise your points as to why your budget is better. So we'll start with you, Honorable Simuchimba, what are you throwing back at Honorable Daka? Your 2 minutes starts now.
Honorable Daka, what did you say is going to, what percentage of the budget is going to come from domestic resources from within the country?
Within the country,
Yes, from
22.5% will come from the domestic revenue generation.
Okay, I mean, I don't know if you said 90%, but there's a part where you mentioned
Okay.
what was the 90% for?
So the current global standing is that we're supposed to fund our budgets. The normal global standing is 80%, and Zambia is currently below that. So with this ambitious budget, we are looking forward to hammer 90% of domestic revenue generation to fund our own budget and development.
That's your time, Honorable Simuchimba. We'll give Honorable Daka to just point out what you picked out from Honorable Simuchimba's draft budget that was presented to our judges today. So your time starts now.
Okay, thank you so much. Honorable member, in your speech, you earlier mentioned mining royalties, and you emphasized to say you utilize the mining industry to garner revenue. Now, considering the mining industry has a robust and a complicated system in place to an extent that ZRA, up to date, fails to get more revenue from there. How are you planning on improving that agenda in your tenure for the fiscal year 2026?
Okay, so those problems usually come because ZRA is unable to track some of the transactions.
Yeah.
But digitalizing the system is going to help because ZRA is going to be up to date with whatever transaction is going to be happening in the mining industry, and that's going to improve the system.
So are you agreeing with me that if recovery is gradual, then that proposal may not work for the year 2026?
Would you please rephrase your question?
You've said ZRA will use digital means to track tax generation.
So my question is, currently they don't have the capacity. They are not doing that.
So if this budget proposal you are presenting today is for 2026 and recovery is a gradual process, are you agreeing with me that that won't be managed in 2026?
Okay, so from the recent visit we had to ZRA, we learned that they are trying by all means to do what I've just said, to digitalize the system. So I strongly believe we are going to achieve that in the coming year.
All right, the time, that's our time. We're going to go to the judges now. For me, I'll throw my question in there as well with the judges. Very, very ambitious budgets. My main concern, obviously, domestic resource mobilization. That's what stood out in both your budgets. But before I come in, let's throw it to our judges here. Our panel of judges. Any questions, observations? We'll start from this end.
Okay, thank you so much, and well done to both contestants. I think there's a lot of improvement compared to the first presentations we had. And I think I can start with Chimamo. I think great improvement with your budget presentation. I can see a lot more alignment and order to your budget. I know it didn't get to the very end, but I could tell at least there was a lot of content, obviously, we could have seen, as well as Wiseman, like very good presentation, very good content from both contestants. I think for me, I am quite impressed by the improvement from both. I'm still looking at my notes to see some key areas of focus that could help both of you. But so far, so good from my end. So,
all right, there you have it. Those are our first two contestants who have done their presentations. We'll allow them to leave the podium as we welcome the next set of two contestants to come and present their draft budgets to the judges. And now we have a fresh pair of contestants with us on the podium here. We have Honorable Smate and Honorable Chola, who are here to present their draft budgets to our judges. To the contestants, here are the rules. You each get 7 minutes to present your draft budgets to our judges. After that 7 minutes, you get an extra 2 minutes to debate each other. So please take notes as your fellow contestant is presenting their budget so that you have questions for them at the end of their presentation. All right, let's get the ball rolling. We'll start with you, Honorable Cornelius Chola. You will get 7 minutes, and your 7 minutes starts now.
Greetings, countrymen and women. My name is Cornelius Chola, the Minister of Finance and National Planning. I stand before this House today to present the 2026 National Budget, a deliberate and strategic response to the current state of our nation's economy. Madam Speaker, the theme of this year's budget is From Recovery to Resilience, Making Growth Work for All. I am a bearer of a message from His Excellency, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia. It is not a secret that as a nation, we were recovering from the dual problem that we were faced with. That is the burden of debt and the devastation of the drought. Our historic debt default shattered investor confidence and crippled investment. On the other side of the economy was devastating drought. This crisis triggered the extended load shedding we endure today. This power shortage strangles production, threatens deeper social and economic crisis, and has helped to drive inflation to 12.6%, far exceeding our target band of 6 to 8%. Madam Speaker, in response to this recovering economy, we propose to spend 240 billion kwacha in the 2026 fiscal year. Now, let us roll up our sleeves, hold each other accountable, and deliver results for every Zambian as we build a resilient nation. I thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Chola. Over to you, Honorable Smate. Your 7 minutes starts now.
Good afternoon, countrymen and women. My name is Tabonga Simate. Madam Speaker, I'm a bearer of a message from the Republican President of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, recommending favorable considerations that I lay on the table. Madam, inflation currently stands at 13%. Currency performance got stronger by 19% in 2025, and GDP estimate shows that the economy grew by 4.5% in the first quarter of 2025. Madam Speaker, this is a clear indication that despite the economic challenges that we have faced, our economy has shown so much resilience. Madam Speaker, therefore the 2026 national budget is going to focus on growth that directly benefits all segments of society, job creation, as well as stimulating domestic fund mobilization. Madam Speaker, the 2026 national budget will be themed From Recovery to Resilience, Making Growth Work for All. We intend to spend a total of 264 billion kwacha. Madam Speaker, my budget today will be in 3 parts: the revenue, the resource mobilization, expenditure, as well as my conclusion. Madam Speaker, the large part of our revenue is from taxation. ZRA is expected to fund over 71% from the total budget. Madam Speaker, with that being said, as ZRA, we continue to leverage on digitalization such as electronic payment, e-smart, to ensure compliance and effective tax collection. Madam Speaker, it is impossible to talk about resource mobilization in our country without involving the mining industry, because it contributes over 44% of our total revenue. Madam Speaker, the mining industry increased production in the first quarter of 2025 by 29% in copper production. The goal is to produce over 3 million tons annually by the year 2031. With that being said, the following things have been put in place: a reduction in cooperation rate from 35% to 30% to boost investor confidence. Not only that, Madam Speaker, Property Transfer Tax Act increased from 5% to 8%. Madam Speaker, as a government that prioritizes debt servicing, we therefore allocate 27% of our budget towards the debt servicing, which is going to ensure economic growth as well as increase investor confidence.
Honorable Smate, your time is up. Thank you very much for your presentation. All right, there you have it. Those are the 2 draft budgets presented before our judges. Now, we'll give an opportunity to both our ministers of finance and national planning to poke holes in both their draft budget presentations. Let's start with you, Honorable Chola. Anything of note or questions that you have for Honorable Smate?
Sure. It was
2 minutes.
It was a very good.
Now.
It was a very good presentation by Honorable Smate. Though I've got some form of corrections and questions. First of all, Honorable Minister, don't mislead the nation. The inflation is not 13% as we are talking. It's at 12.6%. So make sure you're up to date when you're updating the nation on such sensitive matters. Then secondly, your budget was more of theories, not of really the budget. For example, I heard you've talked of employing teachers. How many teachers are you going to employ in the education sector? And how much are you going to spend on those teachers? You've also talked of increasing the health sector by 15%. How much is that? How much exactly are you increasing the health sector? Because this is why the people are watching. Why are you leaving so many questions in their minds? I think I'm done.
All right.
Okay, thank
Your
you
response
so much.
to
Thank you
those
so much,
concerns?
Honorable Sir, for that concern. I will start with the health sector. 15% is 39.6 billion kwacha, Madam Sir. 39.6 billion kwacha. I must also make mention that I appreciate your concerns, especially with the update in terms of our GDP and the other things that were not accurately mentioned. But with the outline of my budget, Madam Sir, I mentioned to say the allocation towards the education sector is 30 billion, and in that 30 billion, that is what we are going to use in the recruitment of the teachers. However, there is also an expansion of the budget so that we allocate how the funds are going to be used.
Okay, well, I will moderate. So when she's done, you can chip in. Yeah, so on it. So please conclude your responses, and when you're done, then I'll give him an opportunity to ask one more question.
Okay, I just wanted to make mention that we didn't do a breakdown on we didn't do breakdown of how much we're going to spend on the recruitment of teachers. However, that is very imperative and it is in our detailed budget. We are going to make sure that it is fully considered into consideration. We still know the number of teachers that we're going to employ and the gaps that we have faced in the education sector.
Let's hear your questions regarding his presentation.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Sir, you mentioned in the energy sector that you are allocating funds that are going to be used for diversification. Of recent, we have noticed to say the government has been trying to pull certain trends to ensure that they diversify. However, despite their efforts in the 125 watts that have been added to megawatts that have been added through the Chisamba and the Mailo solar plants, there is still no significant progress that has been made. Like I mentioned, in China, I'm still experiencing 22 hours of load shedding. What things are you putting in place to ensure that you keep that gap? How are you assuring the people to say these are the things that you're going to put in place to ensure that that gap is covered?
Okay. Your response, Honorable Chairman?
Thank you so much for that good question. So, just like I indicated, we are allocating 5.6 billion kwacha to the energy infrastructure. So that is involving diversification in the energy. We are not going for hydro, but we are going for solar and for wind and for geothermal at the same time. So we have three methods that will be employing at the same time, and it's clearly budgeted.
What are your reactions from the two draft budgets that have been presented before us, and obviously from the debate as well? Let's hear from our panel of judges.
I don't know if I heard you right, Cornelius, or maybe I missed it, but with your budget, what influenced the drop in borrowing? I know you mentioned that there'll be something about a drop in borrowing, so what has been happening correct in your country that there's been a drop in borrowing?
Okay, so thank you so much, madam, for that good question. So last year I mentioned to say we're going to have a 30% in borrowing. Where is that coming from? So last year the borrowing was at 34.7 billion, but this year it has dropped by 30%. We are now going to have it at 22 billion from 34.7. So that's the drop, the 30% drop.
Mr. Mata, thank you so much once again for your presentation. On your tax reforms, you guide me if I didn't hear you correct. I heard you mention that property transfer tax is going to go upwards by, right?
The property transfer tax?
Yes. And then I also heard you say taxation, especially on the mining, because of its role that it plays, it's going you're going to reduce it.
Licensing.
Yes, licensing of the minings.
Yes.
Okay. Then I think I noted something on the pay as you earn. Did you list something on the bands for the pay as you earn?
Yes.
Okay. I think I saw the first band where you've moved from 0 to 6,000, right? What is your incentive for doing that?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. I'll start with the last one. So I mentioned to say we are prioritizing. We firstly want to maximize areas in our country that can generate so much income, such as the agriculture, the mining industry, the tourism and manufacturing. As we manage to tax them in a way that will be able to accumulate so much income, because our budget is focusing on making growth work for the people, then we reduce the tax bunch to reduce the burden on the people. So what we are trying to do is to maximize resource mobilization in the major areas, as well as ensure that we reduce the tax bans for the Zambian people, so that this growth in the mining industry and other sectors works for the people. And also you talked about reducing the mining licensing process. Yes, we recommended a reduction from 10% to 8%. This is in order to reduce the number of illegal miners. It has come to our attention to say quite a number of people are mining illegally, and a lot of people have been going on around the mining industry. But to make it very affordable and accessible for the Zambian people, and also for the Zambian people to feel like this is their land and they belong to this nation, because there's that level of entitlement to them to say, but why are you stopping us? Because this is our thing. So what we want to do is to make it very accessible for them to get the license so that they can be able to mine, and ultimately to also improve our country revenue production.
All right, there you have it. Those are our two ministers of finance, Honorable Simate and Honorable Cholo. Job well done. Thank you very much. Your job is done here for now. We'll await and hear our judges and their decision a little later on, right here on the People's Budget. We will await our next pair to come and present before the judges their draft budget presentations. This is the People's Budget. We're getting to the business end of the People's Budget, and we have a fresh set of contestants to present before our panel of judges, their draft budgets. Here are the rules of engagement. Honorables, I'd like to welcome you to the People's Budget podiums. You're both welcome. All right, so Honorable Chanda, Honorable Chorasha, well, you each get 7 minutes to present your draft budgets to the judges. After the 7 minutes is done, you will both get a chance to debate each other's budgets. You get 2 minutes each to debate. So after that, we'll throw it to the judges. The judges will then ask you a few questions and you'll be able to respond. Is that clear? All right, Honorable Chanda, you are up first. Your 7 minutes starts now.
Greetings, countrymen and women. Madam Speaker, my name is Anna Chanda, the Minister of Finance and National Planning. Madam Speaker, this afternoon, I have the honor to present to the nation the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 2026. Madam Speaker, my address this afternoon is in 3 phases. Number 1, on the state of the economy. Number 2, proposed expenditure estimates. And number 3, resource mobilization allocation. Madam Speaker, to begin with on the state of the economy, according to the report by the Zambia Statistics Agency, our inflation rate as of August 2025 is currently at 12.6%, which is still higher than the projected policy target band of 6 to 8%, subjecting our citizens to a higher cost of living with a GDP of 5.8%. However, Madam Speaker, an expected rebound of our economy is to be seen in 2026, as this is premised on the recovery of certain key sectors, which include, but not restricted to, the agricultural sector, a pickup in mining and the energy sector. Government has proposed to spend 49.2 billion or 22.6% the budget under the economic affairs to stimulate economic activity. Madam Speaker, of this amount, I have allocated 16 billion to support interventions in the agriculture sector, as this aims to support over 1 million farmers with farming input program and will ensure food security. Our goal as government is to invest in irrigation, invest in drought-resistant crops, and invest in water harvesting techniques, or rather, also encourage most of our farmers to invest in water harvesting techniques. Madam Speaker, moving further to energy, Madam Speaker, our dependence on hydropower has left us vulnerable to climate changes with a reduction in our generation capacity. Madam Speaker, government proposes to allocate 2.6 billion to the energy sector. This, Madam Speaker, is in a bid to promote renewable energy power supply, which will reduce reliance on hydropower alone, and as such will allow the private sector investment and reduce reliance on ZESCO alone. Madam Speaker, I submit and I thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Chanda. Honorable Chorasha, it's your turn. Your 7 minutes starts now.
Madam Speaker, members of the National Assembly and fellow citizens, I bid you all a pleasant day. My name is Divine Chorasha, the Minister of Finance, and allow me at this juncture to deliver the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 2026 that is guided by the theme from recovery to resilience, making growth work for all. Madam Speaker, this budget is driven by the goals of the 8th National Development Plan, and under the mentioned theme, the top priority of the government in this regard is to ensure growth for all as we journey from recovery to resilience. Madam Speaker, the contents of this budget include the macroeconomic developments, revenue estimates, along with expenditure estimates for the year 2026. Under macroeconomic developments, 2025 projected GDP growth is at 5.8%. Key drivers for this growth is the mining sector and the agriculture sector, as well as the ICT and service sector. As of August, inflation stands at 12.6%, a considerable decline from the 16.69% in January 2025. The kwacha to USD exchange rate is currently standing at $1 is to 23.78 kwacha compared to the $1 is to 27 kwacha in January 2025. Madam Speaker, these developments echo our recovery as a country. The Bank of Zambia's monetary policy rate currently stands at 14.5% as of mid-2025, and the debt to GDP ratio is elevated, standing at 95.3%. Let us not just recover, let us rise. I commend this budget to the House, to the people of Zambia, and to the Madam Speaker. I thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Chwarasha, with that presentation there. It's now time we give you an opportunity, Honorable Chanda, to poke holes in Honorable Chwarasha's draft budget presentation to the judges. You have 2 minutes to get your points across. The time starts now.
Honorable Chwarasha, so you did mention under your land tax measures that you increase the toll tariffs on heavy duty and abnormal load vehicles. So now I'm just wondering, won't this bring about financial harm to transporters? Maybe don't you think it will raise the cost of goods?
Okay, so now on heavy load vehicles and abnormal loads, these vehicles cause severe wear and tear to the roads. What we're pushing for is an equitable pay of how much damage is caused to the roads. And now the 50 kwacha and 150 kwacha increase in comparison to how much these companies that are responsible for exports give out or distribute is much more lesser and would not impact them so severely. So no, this will not increase the cost of goods. It will just ensure that equitable pay for damage to roads is given to the people and also boost and benefit the economy.
Thank you, Honorable. So just moving on, maybe you could highlight to the House that all your budget does indicate where there's going to be job creation away from what you've already mentioned in terms of the existing SMEs. Does it point to that?
SMEs can be supported by other funds like the Youth and Women Empowerment Fund, Citizen Entrepreneurship Development Fund. The government will continue to fund these programs. That is to ensure that even people who are unemployed are given the platform to come forth, have funding from these particular funds and help develop themselves. So we create employment in that regard.
Now throw it to Honorable Chwarasha to debate Honorable Chanda's earlier budget presentation.
What do you have in store rather for people who are found in urban areas like Lusaka, in urban areas like Livingstone that don't dwell so much in agriculture?
Now you need to understand that, just let me also alert the House that I did mention that we have something that's already existing and working for our modern people here in Lusaka. For example, the cash for work. One does not need to have a degree for that. One does not need to have a highly requested qualification. It is something that has gone to the doorstep of our people that is helping them to earn at least something that can help us and you. So yes, away from the economic affairs, the agricultural sector, hugely benefiting the outskirts of our country, back here in Lusaka, back here to our modern environment, we have one of the things that's working, that's cash for work. But also under our CDF, we have people who are able to access grants, we have people who are able to access loans, and also make I mention that we have students on bursaries from different institutions who are benefiting here in our modern environment.
Honorable Chwarasha, do you have another question?
Talk of raising threshold from 5,100 to 5,500. By raising this threshold, we tend to lose money. How then are you going to generate money and cover for those losses that are made?
So on the tax exemption from to 5,500, so on that part, in our budget, we are considering a raise in terms of the tax on tobacco. That is going to increase over 1.3% to our GDP. So already we have a cushion of what we are mobilizing in terms of resources as government even as we implement the tax exemption. Because remember, we do not want to also cause a huge burden on our citizens, but also as government, we are aware that we need to have strategies. We also need to have alternatives in terms of if we are going to offload the burden of tax on our citizens, then what's the solution? So in this case, we have the increased tobacco taxation, but also we are going to increase more, as I did allude, in our agriculture sector, because remember, we are trying to make it a sector that is attractive to people so that they can venture into it more. And what we are promoting is local production.
All right. I would have asked you if you had one more question, but your time is up. Honorable Chorasha, thank you very much for your contributions. We now throw it to our judges who have been, listening attentively and paying attention to this draft budget presentation. Judges, it's over to you.
Let me first say congratulations to the both of you for your wonderful presentation. I think you've thought through what you really wanted to give us. I think that's a good thing. Also, I think Honorable Minister Chanda, you had forgotten to understand that we are in a situation where we are dealing with a problem of debt. And so I wanted to see you also speak to your allocation in terms of debt service. I think I saw that one come out in the allocation that has been done by Honorable Minister Vine.
All right, there you have it. Those were our two participants presenting their draft budgets to our panel of judges. They've given their opinions, and we await to hear how they'll adjudicate these results. That was Honorable Chorasha and Honorable Chanda. Lady and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation. Job well done. We will be coming back with our final participant presenting to our judges.
Hi, Thokozile.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us remotely. We understand that you're having your exams, but at least you're able to join us remotely. I guess that is the beauty of technology, and I guess it shows a different light also to the People's Budget and of course CTPD. But let's get into it. Congratulations for even making it this far. Would like for you, of course, to present your budget, and thereafter, of course, the judges or my co-judges and I will be asking you a few questions just to poke holes in your budget if there are any. Are you ready?
Yes,
Please present, Madam, your Honorable Thokozile. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Greetings, countrymen and women of this great nation. My name is Hawata Thokozile, the Minister of Finance and National Planning. Distinguished citizens, we are coming from a back record of recovery from the severe drought, energy challenges, high debt burden, and the impact on agriculture, which has tested our resilience and slowed our economic growth. It is in this context that the theme for this year's national budget is From Recovery to Resilience, Making Growth Work for All. Madam Speaker, I will outline my estimates of revenue and expenditure for the 2026 national budget. I will address the state of the economy, the macroeconomic objectives, and then I will conclude. Madam Speaker, the government intends to raise 220 billion kwacha, which is 10% increment from this year's national budget in order to meet the proposed expenditure. This amount will comprise 158 billion kwacha, or 23.9% of the GDP in domestic revenue, 1.7 billion of 64.4% of the national budget to tax revenue, while 29.8 billion kwacha will be non-tax revenue. Madam Speaker, from external and domestic borrowing, we intend to raise 27 billion kwacha, which is 14% of the national budget. Madam Speaker, on the state of the economy, according to a report from the Zambia Statistics Agency, the overall inflation as of August 2025 stands at 12.6%, a sharp drop from last year's 15%, which shows that we are slowly moving towards our target, achieving a single-digit inflation rate.
All right. Thank you so much, Toko, for that presentation. I'm now going to give opportunity to my co-judges here to be able to ask questions. We'll start with you, Lukwesa.
Okay, thank you so much, Thokozile, for your budget presentation. Good job and well done. I think I would like to seek clarity on something or just get more insight. I think under CDF, you had proposed increasing the fund but also mentioned that there's a program that you would like to extend to digital platforms. Is that correct? Okay, my question is, there is a digital divide, especially between urban and rural areas, and if we're saying CDF is meant for communities, especially those in rural areas, how do you intend to deal with this digital divide, and also how would this sort of impact the efficiencies of the fund if you implement these digital platforms?
Thank you so much. So the digital platform is also focusing on the people who are in the urban areas. I remember the outreach program we had there to green markets. There are still people who are still, not certain about the CDF, how it works, and how come they're only hearing it from others and not themselves. So this one will really, it will help to spread awareness, especially for people who are in urban areas. When it comes to rural areas, I propose that the increment of the fund actually goes to initiatives where we'll carry out workshops. How people go on the ground to educate people about what CDF is really about. Because we understand that in most rural areas, there are rural areas like my own, where network is really bad, and that you cannot, people don't have access to such opportunities. Thank you.
Hello, contestants. How are you guys feeling? There's no voices even. Is that the nerves?
Did you speak too much?
Have you left a voice in the budget? Well, we're here just to eliminate 3 of you. The road ends here today. The ones that remain will be moving on into the final. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time. There was a lot of deliberation that did happen between my co-judges and myself. So it wasn't easy. I will tell you that. It wasn't easy. We also, of course, have to acknowledge Thokozile, who's joining us virtually as she's got exams, but at least she was also able to put up a good performance virtually. The first person going home today, the judges, as judges, we feel there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. And I think should you come back next year, we expect to see you a little bit more well-equipped, a little bit more well-rounded with conversations, and not just to take it up as a hobby. So on that note, Chumamwe, that road ends here. Anna, congratulations. We'll see you in the next round. Thokozile. You won't be packing your bags to come to Lusaka. The road ends here for you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cornelius, I feel like I'm having deja vu from the last time. Remember last time almost in this similar situation. So I don't know whether this is unfortunate or fortunately, but we'll see you in the final. See why I love it. Okay, back to being so The third person going home today, and this one also again was not easy, but unfortunately the road ends here. It's the end of the road. I see you looking me in my eye. It's the end of the road for you, Tavong. I think you'd put up a very good performance, but unfortunately it just wasn't good enough. To Anna, Divine, Wiseman, and Cornelius, we expect you to bring the fire in the final. You have proven to be quite strong, to be quite knowledgeable, very confident in your presentations, but we want to see a little bit more. Do we truly have a Minister of Finance among the four of you? We will find out. For those whose journey ends today, don't be discouraged. There's still a lot to learn. You can still come back next year and kill it based on what you have learned, how you can refine yourself, and what you need to do to be able to progress and become the Minister of Finance with CTPD and the People's Budget. So can that be done next year? Yeah? No? I guess the shock maybe might do people still be in their emotions. But yeah, that is my piece. I have said what I needed to say. I don't know if my four fellow judges have parting messages.
Yeah, I think to all the contestants, well done. It was great to see how much you've improved since the previous presentation. Good job. Keep interacting in the same way that you're improving. Keep taking notes that we keep sharing. Also keep watching your fellow contestants as we go on so that you can keep sharing notes. This is not, you're not just contestants, but you're also networking with one another, so you can always share notes in how you can strengthen each other in that aspect. So well done to all of you for today.
I think all of us have been good and we've done our level best. I think I've seen a lot of ideas, but those that may have not made it, it's not that you were not, say, good enough, but it was that there were some that were just better than you. And that's why you couldn't actually make it to the final. I think those are my few words. I wish you all the best to those contestants that have made it to the final. Just work on our budgets, and we hope to see a wonderful final.